Welcome to this meeting of the Pender County Board of Education. A quorum has been established tonight, and this meeting is now called to order. At this time, we will have the adoption of the agenda. Would anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. We have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And the motion carries. At this time, Mr. Hall, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we will have our invocation with Mr. Gardner Akins. Would everyone please stand?
Thank you, Madam Chair, board members, Dr. Breedlove and Cabinet. If you would, let's bow as we give thanks and honor our Lord today. Heavenly Father, we just praise you. We thank you for this day that you've allowed us to be here. We thank you for the safety of travel. Lord, we thank you, Lord, for the people that are here before you. We thank you for the work that they're putting in, Lord, here in the public, but also, Lord, in the private of their hearts. We know sometimes that the decisions that are made, they may not always be pleasing to all. But Lord, we just pray that you honor their efforts. Lord, they're doing the best that they can. And we just thank you for that, and we just support their efforts, and we just support their passion, desire to make this the best place that we can be. Heavenly Father, we just pray your presence over us tonight as you will guide us the meeting, that you will keep us safe, Lord, here, and you will keep us safe as we depart. We just thank you for this time of celebration as we close out a year, Lord, but also we pray for the work that must be done to prepare for anew. We love you and we thank you, and we ask these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Akins. Okay, Mr. Finkbottom, I turn it over to you for recognitions.
Madam Chair, just one recognition tonight, so we'll have our Director of Student Services, Leanne Radabaugh, come on up. Ms. Radabaugh is going to recognize a pair of students who have brought some awareness not just to our schools, but to our local community as well for some very important topics. And obviously with school out, we thank the students for being able to come in while they're enjoying their summer. So I'll turn it over.
Okay, I'm gonna, this is Abby Robbins, who's the counselor at PEX, and I invited her to come up there with me, because without her guidance at PEX, fostering these leadership skills in students, we wouldn't have people to recognize tonight. So the first one I'm gonna recognize is Lily Walters, who ended up not being able to come tonight, but I still wanna talk about what she did, because she did something that a lot of grown-ups in our district have a hard time doing. So Lily volunteered with the American Federation for Suicide Prevention. They do programs in schools, and so she really wanted to bring programs to our middle and high school students. We were able to pilot in a couple of middle schools this year. We're expanding it next year. But Lily, as a senior in high school, well, 13th year, actually got up in front of gyms full of middle schoolers and talked about mental health with just an amazing amount of poise and grace. So I wanted to make sure that she got recognized, because I don't know if any of y'all taught middle school. I did for 7 or 8 years. It's not easy to get up in front of a gym full of middle schoolers. So Lily's in Wisconsin, but she's watching us, so thanks, Lily. And then next is Emery Morrison from PEX. Come on up, Emery.
Emery is a graduated senior from Pender Early College. She will be attending Appalachian State this upcoming year. She is one of the very few students in the Southeast region who got teaching fellows. And so she will be going to become an elementary educator as well as EC, going into the field of EC as well. So she's double majoring. So the reason that we wanted to recognize her was her part in, she was the spark of getting the human trafficking awareness program incorporated into Pender County. She took a sociology class at Cape Fear her junior year, and learning all about human trafficking and the atrocities of it, and then learning about the statistics within specifically this region, with Wilmington being a port. The statistics are higher than what people realize. And so she contacted Mr. Breedlove, and she got over 200 some signatures across the county to start implementing the a program for Pender County schools for students to start learning about human trafficking. And so she was the spark behind getting that started for next school year. So congratulations.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Awesome, thank you.
Good luck, guys.
Okay, that wraps up recognitions.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Finkbonner, and that wraps up recognitions. At this time, we will go to public comment. The Pender County Board of Education welcomes comments from our parents, students, and community. The public comment period is open for members of the public, including parents and students, to voice compliments, concerns, and complaints about the performance of school personnel, implementation of board policy, or quality of education program or school facilities. Each person is granted 3 minutes for their presentation. This portion of the meeting is for the board to hear matters of interest from the public. However, obscene, vulgar, or profane statements or statements reasonably perceived to be disruptive or imminently threatening to the orderly operation of the meeting shall not be permitted. Okay, thank you. Number 1 is Lucy Roy.
Good evening. My name is Lucy Roy. I have 3 children in Pender County Schools. Thank you to the board members that responded to my email. I am addressing you all this evening to express my deep concern regarding decisions made by the board that I believe are not in the best interests of students, families, and the community of Eastern Pender County at large. Specifically, I would like to address the disastrous tiered scheduling change for the upcoming school year. What research has been done on the topic of tiered school start times? Is it based on current traffic trends? Please provide the basis for the decision concerning tiered start times, and please elaborate on the plan for buses, new routes, new drivers, and budgets for new plans. Many parents that drive their children to school have to be at work at 8 o'clock. This poses a large problem. In addition to my dissatisfaction with tiered start times only affecting the eastern side of the county, I am disappointed in the board's decision to create a calendar for the 26-27 school year with the first day of class on August 10th of 26. Hopefully all of you read the email I sent a couple of weeks ago pointing out North Carolina legislation concerning school start and end dates. The newest legislation states that North Carolina public schools shall start, quote, no earlier than the Monday closest to August 19th and end no later than the Friday immediately preceding the last Monday in May, end quote. Please be good examples to the community by following the law. I urge the board to reconsider these actions and to seek broader community engagement moving forward. This includes hosting open forums, not closed door sessions, conducting impact assessments, and prioritizing transparency and accountability. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I would appreciate a response concerning these topics.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Tiffany Norris.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Tiffany Norris, and I serve as the Moms for Liberty Chapter Chair for Pender County. I'm here tonight as both an advocate and a concerned parent to express deep disappointment in how recent decisions are being made within Pender County schools. The continued use of special meetings with minimal notice, limited transparency, and little opportunity for parent engagement is unacceptable. These decisions are affecting thousands of families, yet our voices are being disregarded. This is not how a collaborative or accountable school district should operate. One decision that is especially troubling is the change to the high school bell schedule, moving the start time to 7:10 a.m. This move directly contradicts a substantial body of research, including guidance from the American Academy of Pediatrics, which shows that teenagers perform better academically, emotionally, and physically when school starts later. Early start times disrupt natural sleep cycles, reduce learning capacity, and increase risks for anxiety, depression, and even car accidents, which is a very big concern considering the time and the traffic that we are dealing with. We should be making data-driven decisions that prioritize student well-being, not ones based on logistics alone. I urge the board to reconsider this schedule change and moving forward to engage parents in a meaningful and respectful way. You are elected to represent this community, and that includes listening to the parents who entrust their children to this school system every single day. I would like to thank Dawn and Jason, who's not here, for voting against this bell schedule. I understand things need to be done. There are changes that need to be done, but the way that this was implemented is completely unacceptable. Thank you.
Thank you. Jason Chapman.
Good evening, board members, county members. Thanks for showing up. I'm displeased as well at the tier schedule. There's no data that you published. The survey that was conducted, the results weren't given to the county, and then only affected half the county, or the county out to the east. And I don't know what drove that decision, what metric you used, what data you used, how you collected that data, and then how you presented that data to the community to make an informed decision on how you're going to do that. Was it financial? Was it based on the buses? Was it a combination of things? Was it science and research? What did you use to inform the community to make your decision? And then why hold that decision in a closed environment without public comments prior to, if you knew this was going to affect? And so, given the repercussions, how come you have not halted it at this point to either A, present the data to the community, or B, to have an open discussion so that informed decisions can be made to parents? If you haven't figured it out yet, I'm vehemently opposed to the tier schedule, as I have one that's in kindergarten, and then I have one in high school. And an example would be, my 15-year-old, or soon-to-be 16-year-old, will get there at 7 o'clock. And then after-school activities can bring them anywhere from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. And at the end of the day, so you want to run a 14-hour day with no break for these students, to include the teachers as well, which costs us more time, more volunteers, right? And we're going to get less time for the students to actually be able to have some rest, and we're going to get less time for volunteers to participate during those hours of peak. So I ask you again to reconsider. I ask you to at least put a pause on it, allow for the community to stand up, have some notes, provide some data to us, and then explain the decision as to why only half the county. If it was good for one side of the county, how come it's not good for the other half? Decisions are supposed to be made in a collective environment, and they're supposed to have a holistic approach. And failure to do so, or compartmentalizing only one section, brings about divide, and it doesn't really inform parents. Again, was it financial? What data did you have to substantiate? And then how are you informing the rest of the community? And then give the community the chance to respond before making the decision. In doing so, we all have the right to protect our children. We all want better for the school. We want better for you. We want better for the board. We want better for the teachers. Just inform us as to the reason to the why. The why is the most important. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Carrie Chapman.
Hi, my name is Carrie Chapman, and I am also completely opposed to the three-tier bill schedule because I have a 16-year-old who is going to be driving, and I'm sorry, but the roads in Hampstead are ridiculous. And I don't want my kid going to school at 7 o'clock in the morning when it's going to be dark out. The people are already in a hurry. People are still going to be driving. They're going to be driving to Wilmington to go to work. They're going to be driving to go on base. It's not going to change traffic whatsoever. But then I have to bring my child, who is going to be in kindergarten, at a different time now. And I don't understand how parents are supposed to take their children or put them on a bus when you have 3 different bus times now. So at Surf City, say, those children used to go all on the same bus together at the same time. Now you have parents who are either going to be dropping their children off at 3 different times. 2 are going to the same school. So you have to loop back around in order to get in line again to go to the next bell schedule, which makes 0 sense to me, adds more traffic because those parents can't go anywhere. Where are you going to go for 40 minutes? The traffic's not going to go anywhere as long as Pender keeps allowing overbuilding and not enough infrastructure. We don't have an extra high school. We have an overcrowded high school. And making the students go at 7 o'clock in the morning doesn't get traffic any less because guess what? You still have the same amount of parents who are going to be bringing their kids to school now because now you have 3 different bell schedules. You also have more parents bringing their students to school because buses are running almost 2 hours behind, which is why my children now get a ride with me. I'm not having them on a bus because I don't want to sit there and be late for the next child because a bus is an hour and a half late. You've got double routes. You have to fix the bus schedule first. You have to fix keeping your bus drivers. And if you can't afford to pay with the amount of taxes that we are paying, there has to be something. You have to make incentives. But how can you afford to pay a bus driver to do 3 routes in the morning and 3 routes in the afternoon? And the gas. How is that saving any money? All it is making children have to go longer days. My child who does after-school program, do I now have to pick her up at 2 o'clock and then bring her back for after school at 4 o'clock because the rest of the schools that they're going to compete against are going to be coming at normal times? That doesn't make any sense. Like, are you going to adjust all of the athletics after school so everybody comes at 3 o'clock? Or do parents have to go to bring their kids to and from school from 2 to 4? So that's all.
Thank you, ma'am. Kristen Lash.
Hello. Can you guys hear me? Yes. All right. So I am here today with a petition that I'm sure all of you have read online. I heard that there was a non-verified petition done by some members of the Board of Education with 80 signatures. Well, this one has over 1,371. 873 of these signatures are from Hampstead alone, followed by Surf City, Topsail Beach, Rocky Point, Burgaw, Castle Hayne, and then more from there. And I will give you guys that. But I just wanted to say, thank you, Dawn, for standing up for parents, or at least trying to give us a voice, because we don't feel like we have one. So far this year, the 2026-27 calendar was voted on without any parent input, and it was not the calendar that was originally presented or voted upon by parents. The school name change that was picked by parents and taxpayers was changed at a board meeting without any input from any parents or taxpayers. And then the 3-tier scheduling, what it was initially presented as being a solution for was not how it was rolled out. And you guys did not get any input from parents. And I know you guys are sick of getting emails, you're sick of seeing us online, but we are frustrated. I mean, and it's not just, parents of high school students, it's all of us. You can't go anywhere in Hampstead and bring it up. and not hear about it. And everyone is frustrated. Parents with kids with disabilities finding childcare or it being recommended that they send their child to a different school in Pender County, that's unacceptable. If Topsail High School cannot offer the services that are needed for kids with disabilities, then perhaps we should reconsider what we're doing. Before and after school care, is that going to be available? Because right now I'm 18th on the wait list for PACES and I signed up on the first day. I was not able to get into it last year for my children. CFCC and dual enrollment, I have one in that too. He has anatomy in a lab. How are we gonna switch that when his high school periods don't align with that? How many, and then we talk about parking. There's not, 16-year-olds, your child's not getting a parking pass because they're already taken by your juniors and seniors. So that's not even gonna be an option. And then, let's see. I do wanna say my emails have not been returned and I really don't appreciate that because there were some valid questions in there. I would like to know about the funding from Renovation Church. Does that go to a general fund or does that go to Topsail High School? Because there are a lot of things that need fixed at Topsail High School and they need addressed.
Okay, thank you. Hope Bruton?
Hi. So I don't like talking in public, but so the recent change in the district's spell schedule, which now prevents younger siblings from riding the bus together with the older siblings, has caused concern among families. This adjustment will disrupt family routines and create challenges for working parents. Expecting parents to rearrange their work schedules to accommodate new school bell times is impractical. When was the impact on families ever even considered? The people of Pender County voted on each of you, and now the people of Pender County are asking you to please reconsider the new bell schedule, and please keep the working parents in mind when doing so. Thank you.
Brent Springer?
Good evening, Board. Y'all mind suspending the rules for the 3 minutes? You don't mind?
That would be up to the board.
If we do it for one, we gotta do it for all.
There's nobody left, Mr. Hall. That's okay. I come before you this evening not just as a former board member, but also as a parent, a taxpayer, and advocate for families of this county. The people who elected you to serve, I urge you to remember who you ultimately work for. Our students, our families, and our educators, they are the ones who most directly affected by your decisions. This evening, I want to speak clearly and firmly in opposition to the proposed 3-tier bell schedule, specifically on the east side. Let's start with the core issue. What's driving this proposed change? I've heard it said development is to blame, and while I'll concede that rapid growth has certainly put strain on our infrastructure, I believe this board is pointing at a symptom instead of a root cause. Development is happening, but we have known about it for years. The bus driver shortage, traffic congestion, overcrowded routes, and it didn't appear overnight. They result from years of planning gaps and underinvestment in transportation resources. Let staff hold it for failing to prepare, much like the new school capacity. What concerns me most is that the proposal appears to shift the burden of those long-standing issues onto our families. Families already balancing work schedules, childcare, extracurriculars, and academic demands. Implementing the 3-tier schedule may relieve a strain in one area, namely transportation, but it creates a hardship in many others. Let's talk about transportation. The culture of the bus drivers, has it changed? What do they need? The bus driver shortage is not new. It's unique to our district, but that doesn't make it acceptable. I sat in budget session where we discussed driver shortages. I remember Dr. Breedlove stating that more drivers would be hired. So I asked an obvious and simple question. Will there be enough drivers to avoid moving to a 3-tier schedule? If the answer is no, we have a deeper issue because 3-tier should be the last resort, not the fallback option. We should urgently and innovatively address the core problem, recruiting and retaining qualified drivers. This comes with a culture change. Offering competitive wages, retention bonuses, better training, or even part-time incentives for retirees are all tools at our disposal. But I have yet to see a comprehensive, transparent plan for solving the staffing problem that doesn't rely on significant disruption of family lives. I want to speak specifically about the impacts on families, especially those with multiple children in different schools, sometimes even on the same campus. Take Surf City, for example. Parents with a child in elementary school and another in middle school must now manage staggered drop-offs and pickups that are time-consuming and directly interfere with their ability to work. And for single parents or those without flexible jobs, this isn't convenient. It's impossible. Let's also consider the impact on the students. If elementary students start earlier, we ask our youngest learners who benefit most from the rest and routine to rise earlier and arrive at school groggy and unfocused. Conversely, if high school students are dismissed later, they lose valuable time for extracurricular jobs, family obligations, and rest. We all know sleep research sports.
Thank you, Mr. Springer. Okay, and I believe that we had some phone calls. Mr. Finkbonner, how many were we looking at?
I believe there were 15.
15. Okay, well, let's get started.
And it doesn't work with people's schedules. Like, knowing the traffic in Hampstead, everyone knows that arriving at 7:10 is just not gonna, work for no one. That not even when the high school starts at 7 or 8:30, traffic is still horrible. People don't even get there on time. And it's just gonna be 10 times worse with tardies, absences at 7:10. And I know, the whole attendance policy, but that still isn't going to do anything. There's going to be more people missing days, being late, and that doesn't help. The policy also doesn't help with people doing Cape Fear. Going at 7:10 can, hurt people going to Cape Fear and who already have signed up for classes for the semester. Because if you did it in the morning or even in the afternoon, you were signing up classes for your first and second period. And now having that at 7:10 will completely mess up all schedules. And if you do in the morning, you're more than likely going to miss third period, depending however the scheduling goes by classes, if you're doing K-Fever. And it's almost too late now to, change the schedules. These classes are more likely filled up.
Hi, I'm calling for a message for the board meeting on June 10th, 2025. It's in reference to the 3-tier bell schedule. I really hope you guys consider this. As a parent of a child at Surf City Middle School, the start time is not going to work, nor is the end time. It's really not something that's going to work. My son plays travel baseball, so he's got sports in the afternoons, which means he would have to leave early pretty much every day of the week to make it to practice on time. That's all the way out in Leland. And as far as his start time, I don't know how many of you have 13-year-old boys, but my son cannot be left home by himself to get on the bus in the morning at such a late time. And the fact that I have a special education child who now can't go to Pender County schools because of other issues that were not addressed properly the past 2 years for him, I now have to send my special education child to a charter school that's in Scotts Hill. So I have to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm not back here in time to make sure my middle school child can get on the bus. So I really, really hope that you guys take into consideration that this is not going to work for a number of different reasons for a number of different parents. I don't think that the 3-tier bell schedule is the problem. I truly believe that the problem is lack of bus drivers. It's been said multiple times through multiple different meetings that it takes long to train these bus drivers. So the fact that we're moving to a 3-tier bell schedule, all the bus drivers that we're hiring still aren't going to be trained and on the road in time to start school next year. So I really, really don't think that this is taken into consideration properly. I hope that this is voted on to reconsider because it's affecting multiple parents on the east side of the county. And it's really not a one Pender, considering the entire county is not having to do this. Hopefully this helps. Have a great day.
Hello, this is Ashley Sartorius. I'm calling in regards to the 3-tier bell schedule. I'd like to know where's the survey for parents who may need before and after school care. I certainly hope you don't expect teachers to monitor this program. They didn't sign up to be babysitters. It seems like you will have the same problem with a different label. Instead of staying late for a double run, the teachers will now stay late for daycare. Has anyone evaluated how the new schedule will impact the TAs and their instructional hours and coverage for duty-free lunches, since some of them will still be required to drive a bus? Why hasn't a new bus rider survey gone out? Where are the job postings for full-time bus drivers? Where is the updated CFCC and Topsail High schedules? How early will the high school buses run with a 7:10 a.m. start time? I feel like all of this is critical information you should have gathered before making a vote. Major changes to student schedules affect everything: sleep, safety, academics, supervision, and family routines. As of now, the community has only been given vague start times without the how behind the plans. We believe in a school system where decisions are not just made, but explained, supported, and revisited based on evidence and community input. This is a major change for our community, and our voices should be heard. Talking to people at the hardware store just isn't it. If you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. Please reconsider the 3-tier bell schedule.
Hello, my name is Bruce Williams. I live in Hampstead. I am a grandparent with 3 grandchildren in the school system on this side of the county. I have some obvious problems with the start time changes you have voted in. First, the high schoolers who are out latest in the evening with sports practices, games, and jobs have to return home to do their homework, then arise early the next morning to return to school. These kids need their rest to perform best in class. Please consider them. Second, no middle school kid drives. A lot of them depend on their older siblings who are in high school to get them to school because their parents are working. Therefore, if the parents work, this child will be home alone several hours and responsible for getting him or herself to the school and meeting the bus on their own. This is forced borderline neglect. I respectfully request that you reconsider and reverse this vote, or at the very least reverse the start times of the middle and high school. Thank you very much.
My name is Cheryl Williams. I live in Hampstead. I'm opposed to your 3-tier start system for the schools, but if you insist on keeping it, I at least would like for you to switch the middle school and high school start time. I have 3 grandkids in 3 different schools in the Topsail Surf City district, so my opinion is not based on one school because I have grandkids affected no matter which way you do this program. But the high schoolers should not be the earliest bell because these high school kids get home later from school because they play sports, they have practices, they have games, and many of them even work. They should not be the first ones to have to be at school. Also, many high school kids of working parents take their younger siblings to school. Now they will not be able to do that. Now 5th graders at Topsail Middle will be left at home alone to catch the bus on their own when previously their older siblings took them to school. This is very poor parenting by people who do not even have kids in our school system. Thank you for considering changing the start times.
Hello, my name is Christina Acosta. I live in Surf City, North Carolina. I am leaving a comment to, probably too late, oppose the recently approved bell schedule for the upcoming school year. The 3-tier schedule will make it almost impossible for us to get kids to school who are both at the elementary and middle school. And the early start time for the high school is completely unreasonable, especially when some kids have sports after school that start generally much later when we compete against other schools, and our schedules will no longer align with theirs. I appreciate this comment being read into the record for the meeting tonight, and I do hope the board will reconsider their choice. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Christopher Knoll. I live in Hampstead. Just calling to say how much I oppose the 3-bell schedule changes, at least for this upcoming school year. It's awful close to be doing that. I think it should be reconsidered after further evaluation of what you can and can't do and when you can and can't do it, because I feel the majority of the voters do not want this. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth, and I'm calling about the whole new Tier 3 thing we got going on. I object to it for a couple of reasons, but one of the major ones is it is actually scientifically proven that students in middle school and high school test better, do better starting after 8:30 in the morning. My other complaint is, what is your plan to do for after school sports? If they get out at 2 o'clock for the high schoolers, but everybody else in the county and in New Hanover who they play sports against don't get out until 3:30, what are they supposed to do in the meantime between getting out of school and getting ready for the game? Are they supposed to sit around the school for 2 hours before they can get on the bus and go to the game? Or, like, that doesn't make any sense. There's a lot of things I don't think this is really well thought out. And I find it very disturbing that the board members who make this decision, nobody has a school in the Topsail district. And if you're going to distinguish East Pender County and West Pender County, then you should do the same for when it comes to weather. So if it's going to snow in Burgaw but not out here in Topsail, why are we getting canceled school because they can't go to school? So if you're going to switch us and make it an east or west thing, then you're going to have to do that also for the weather. But I would really think about the whole sports thing. It does not make sense that they get out at 2 and then they have to wait until 4:30 to play a game. Well, thank you, and hopefully somebody's listening.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Redinger. I am in full support of this change with a rising 9th grade student. My view is that high school students won't miss their first class because of buses that are continuously late. Athletes will be able to miss fewer classes for away games. Athletes already succeed with early workouts, which shows that early start times are available for them and can work for them. As these children age, they also are prepping for real life situations, which means early classes, early work environments, et cetera, et cetera. So this is the perfect time. They've already been doing it. Their bodies are already adapted to it. I also firmly believe that a lot of these students, including mine, do have the opportunity to start jobs after school and work after school, and it gives them more time to also get their homework done, et cetera, as well as being able to participate in multitudes of extracurricular activities that are outside of the school, as well as sports should they choose to. I do believe that parents are responsible for making sure that their students are getting adequate sleep. I do not believe that it is a school responsibility. I do believe it is a parental responsibility. I think the biggest thing for me, and it was always a big thing for me, is that middle school students and elementary school students should not be on a bus and this together at the same time, and this should alleviate a lot of that so that there is no dangers as there had been in previous years. I do believe that it will help even keel some of the traffic. I do believe that bus drivers will be able to have some better hours, benefits, and loads. I know that recently, actually the last day of school for our community, the bus had to actually turn around because a bottle was thrown at its head, at a bus driver's head. So that was a huge issue as well. The behavior is a huge issue as well. I do believe that if there is some sense of, better hours and benefits and smaller loads, and to be fair, to include better pay, that it could be a beneficial thing for our bus drivers as well. I do believe that young students won't have to have the second and the third routes and have to sit an extra 2 hours before and after school for a bus to be able to get them to do what they need to do. And it also takes a lot of the workload off of our teachers that they've been called to do and served so well. That's my thought. So again, I am for this change.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Jackie Wilkinson. I'm at 446 Aurora Place. I have 2 high school students that attend Topsail High School. I just was calling to say that the tiered schedule, while I understand the need for it, having the high school students start earliest really is inefficient in terms of use of busing and whatnot. I'm concerned what's going to happen to the kids like mine that do after-school activities, including sports, and having that large gap of time between when school lets out and when practice begins. If they're not, my children will not able to get a ride from us back to the school, so they will have to stay at the school. My concern is who's going to be watching them and what's going to happen with all these kids just kind of hanging out at the high school. And also the fact of the matter is it's the mass amounts of elementary school parents that bring their children to and from school that really do create much of the traffic issues. So then starting earlier really does seem to be the better idea. I appreciate your time and thank you for listening to my statement. Have a great day.
Hi, my name is Jennifer. Unfortunately, I cannot make the Board of Education meeting tonight, but I just wanted to call in. I did sign the petition not in favor of the new times that have been decided, and mostly the middle school and the high school. The high school being so early, my biggest concern is that they're going to be sleep deprived. Already high schoolers, as we know, they're involved in a lot of sports, school sports, and extracurricular activities and other club teams. And for the most part, they get home super late and then have homework, shower, dinner, and all those things. As it is, it's already difficult to get to bed early enough. And to get to school by 7:10, they're going to have to wake up probably around 5:30, I would say, with the traffic and all of those things. So that is my biggest concern. And additionally, with the middle schoolers getting out so late, I know there's usually bus problems, and that requires them to stay even later sometimes for the second run. And that is my biggest concern there as well, that they're just going to be getting home so late. And also with sports and things, not having enough time to do homework and all of those things. And also, what about other schools? How will they be lining up the times to play games and things like that with the other schools when they get out earlier? I mean, I just feel like it's not making any sense at all. So definitely not in favor of this. I don't really know anyone who is. I believe there's about 1,300 or more people that signed that petition. So I would just hope that the board would reconsider. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hi, my name is Jessica Welty. I have a student that goes to, well, I have 3 children in Pender County schools. 2 of them had to be homeschooled last year. One was going to be at Topsail High School, but due to attendance policies, we had to homeschool him because he is a hockey player who is on a very competitive travel hockey team and was missing too much school. He wants to go back to school next year, but part of his requirement is to train before school. And unfortunately for ice hockey, that includes pretty early mornings. So twice a week he was going to be training in Wilmington at around 6:15 a.m. and then showering and going to school, but that's no longer an option for him because school's starting at 7:10. I've done a lot of research on this, and, you know, kids need their sleep. This is just a very kind of, I think, bold move to make high school start at 7:10 in the morning. Start, not even for them having to arrive there. And I'm just really concerned that this is going to be a detriment to these kids, not only for, you know, their sleep, but their mental health, as well as just because they get home so late from school activities and sports. You know, you can't force a teenager to go to bed at 8 o'clock. It just doesn't happen. And unfortunately for my son, I'm not sure he's going to be able to go back to school now because this is going to severely impact his hockey season. And the school in the past has not really worked with absences, and I'm going to pretty much guarantee that this is going to cause more absences. So I would have loved, not against a 3-tier bus system at all, not against a 3-tier start system. And I have 3 kids in elementary, middle, and high school. So at all 3 schools, my concern is that high school should not be the first school. Elementary should be first, and then middle, and then high school. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Shauna McEwen. Hello, Dr. Breedlove and board members. Thank you for the opportunity to address you on this important issue to which you recently voted on a large scale to change the bell times. I'm sure you're aware that your decision on the matter was not well received by the community at large. To date, I believe the petition has been signed by over 1,300 families against the change. I am here to ask you to please reconsider this decision as soon as possible. First, I'd like to share a few ways that the changes will affect students and families, some of which you may not have foreseen or realized. This radical change in time for the high school students will cause a large gap in the end of school and sports games and other activities. Other normal high schools will not be able to compete any sooner than they have normal start and end times. So late nights are inevitable, especially with those at work. Also, there will now be a conflict with the CFCC classes that already are registered for, and many of those needed classes are already full. These times have been used by Dixon High School for the last year, and by all accounts have been a disaster. Teachers and faculty speak to the way it has failed everyone involved. Test scores and grades would be interesting to compare. Lastly, research and studies confirm that high school age children sleep cycles are very important for their success. No point in school is more important than and has heavier consequences than the years of high school. So many futures rely on this pivotal point of life. Inadvertent effects also will happen to the middle schools. Their sports times will suffer as later start times will make outdoor play almost impossible as many of the schools lack outdoor lighting. Also, with the varied start times, Pender County middle schools will not coincide with each other, so that will be impossible. Lastly, I have a few suggestions, as I also realize that the board was attempting to fix the busing problem that no one will argue is a true problem. The easiest way would be to remedy is to keep the bell times you have suggested, but rearrange the schools. Starting elementary or middle first and second, and high school last would make their start times only slightly different than they already are and cause the least disruption in existing setups, but also should help the busing needs. Or start later for each one, shorten the day, and add a few days spent in school where you require teachers anyhow, but no students. Or consider busing limitations where people who live within 1 to 2 miles of the school are not eligible for busing unless they meet need-based requirements. If you need a good model school district for similar demographics, topography, growth pains, etc., might I suggest Santa Rosa County School District in Florida, which we have seen firsthand has a good handle on transportation and academic needs. Thank you for your time and attention into this matter. Hope you will reconsider this change that will affect us all dramatically. Thank you.
My name is Wade Wilkinson from Hampstead. I'm calling in reference to the new bell schedule for the high school students in East Pender County. The bell schedule should not change from what it was at prior. All studies show that high school students perform better and more efficiently when they have proper sleep and start school later. Additionally, the elementary school students should be the first students that go to school because they are the root cause of all the traffic issues within the town and or district, because most of them get driven by their parents because of daycare issues, and that is what creates the inefficiencies for transportation, and that is why the bell schedule should not change. It should remain the same. Additionally, the entire county should remain on the same schedule, particularly for athletics and after-school activities and students who work. It's ridiculous that students in the western part of the county will go to school later, whereas the eastern district students will go earlier, and saying that this is efficient is a misnomer, as it's entirely inefficient. And again, all studies show that students who get proper sleep and start later perform better and have less automobile accidents on the way to school. Thank you.
Hi, this is Renee Wilson. I'm calling about the 3-tier schedule. I think that what I'd like to say is that no one for or against the 3-tier schedule is against change. especially to make the function of the school buses, the school bus system, and the school system overall work better. I think the problem is that we just need to take a beat. We need to take a minute to figure out this is too sudden at the end of the year and causes too much chaos amongst families, against CFCC. There's going to be a lot of changes to the athletic schedule, musicians, the high school students with CFCC, the elementary kids are going to have to be dealt with in a different way by parents with their care. The teachers and staff are going to have to change up how they function and how they do their daily schedule with or without children. It just seems like we could target some specific problems. We could make a few tweaks to individual school sets, groups of schools to make things better and work overall, rather than make a big change that will require a lot of other changes to adapt to the big dynamics of the school system. Plus, we're comparing ourselves to places like Wake County, which we are not. And it just doesn't quite make sense. So let's take a beat. That is my suggestion, and I hope that you take this three-tier schedule out of the 2025-26 calendar and regroup for maybe the 26-27 calendar. Thank you. Bye-bye.
That is the last call, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, and that concludes public comment. Now we are at agenda item number 7, report from our superintendent.
Thank you, board members. Hard to believe that we are at the close out of another school year. I want to give a shout out to our teachers, our school support staff, our principals, and our assistant principals. Thank you for a great year supporting our students in their academic and social growth. I also want to thank all school employees. We have almost 1,100 school employees who have helped make Pender County Schools operate at a high level each day. Thank you for your tireless efforts and continuing to make our school system and schools safe and enjoyable places to be. To our students, thank you for a great year and all of your achievements and successes along the way. School is not easy, but it can and should be enjoyable. There is a saying that you work hard and you play hard. I can say that we have worked hard all year, and it's now time for the 24-25 school year to be at an end, and I hope that all of our students and families enjoy their summer. I wish our students and families an enjoyable and safe summer vacation. One thing that I do ask, though, is that our students and parents is to please make sure that our students read this summer. Please find a book or a series of books and spend time reading each day. This one activity will pay off dividends for our students and will build joy, the joy around reading, and is a must for all students if we are to come together and work to form good reading habits. But also I'd like to give one last big shout out to our seniors, our 2025 seniors this year. Congratulations on a job well done. I thought that the graduation ceremonies were fantastic. I know you as board members went to them, and it was just it was a highlight for our school system. Upcoming events, we begin our Read to Achieve Summer Literacy Program tomorrow at North Topsail Elementary, South Topsail, Rocky Point, CF Pope, and Malpas Corner Elementary Schools. This will serve our students in grades 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. We are also offering a G Camp at Burgall Middle School on June 16th and 17th, and then another one at Topsail Middle School on June 18th and 19th. We are once again this year doing bulk summer feeding every Wednesday at several of our school sites from 12:30 to 2 p.m. starting on June 18th, which is a Wednesday, through June 27th. Each Wednesday we will be doing those feedings. The sites are South Topsail Elementary, Rocky Point, CF Pope, and Malpas Corner. We also have all of our high schools offering credit recovery to students that need it, and an abundance of summer camps that are happening in and around Pender County, hosted by our CTE department, Many of our partners, like 21st Century, CIS, Boys and Girls Club, YMCA, Parks and Rec, are offering camps all summer long at our school sites. And then a couple more announcements. Monday, June 23rd, Pender Education Partners will be here recognizing new inductees to the Wall of Fame here at the Herring Resource Center. Monday, July 14th, just to put this on your radar, is the first day for Pender Lee school students back in session, as they are a year-round school. And then Tuesday, July 29th, we will be meeting next with our Committee of the Whole. And at this time, board members, thank you for your leadership and all that you do to support Pender County Schools. Ms. Burns, board members, this concludes Superintendent's report. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Breedlove. On to number 8, our information agenda. 8.1, clear bag policy. Mr. Kevin Taylor.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Board Chair and board members. Policy that is written in there is a draft policy. This will be for first read. It brings into practice what a lot of our other districts around us are doing. Provides a clear bag policy for athletic events, things of that nature, just strictly for safety reasons. Would allow us to speed up the line a little bit getting in if you don't have to search bags as much. That's been an issue at some venues, trying to get the crowd in as quick as we can. So be happy to answer any questions that you guys have about the proposed policy. And again, this is just first read.
Yes, sir. And again, this is just for athletic events.
Athletic events where people would come in from the outside.
Okay, what about theater productions or anything that
At
we
the
wouldn't be
moment,
doing
no.
that? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Board, any questions? Okay. All right, sir, thank you.
I think I have the next one too.
Consideration of policy 5030, revisions.
Yes, ma'am. My computer glitched. Hold on just a minute. Again, this policy is first read as well. My apologies. Technology is a great thing when it works correctly.
It's community use.
I am back online. This is the community use of facilities. It brings into just a few small changes, provides provisions for 501c3 status and in-kind donations as part of the payment for using those facilities. You can see in the highlighted or red line version of the policy, just what I'm talking about. On page 2, proof of 501c3 nonprofit status, or 501c status, not 3 status. There's lots of 501cs. And then on the third page, in-kind payment of fees may be allowed as described in the facility use terms and conditions. And we added in nonprofit groups, not only just school-related and nonprofit now. So those are the substantive changes for that policy as recommended by staff.
Okay. I have one question about this one.
Sure.
Would this be the correct policy in which to put a clause in that says that we give priority to Pender County School athletics in our facilities before we allow anybody else to come in and?
If I'm not mistaken, it's in there already.
On page 18, under priority and use fee structure, it says school sponsor groups and activities and meetings, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like, I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, go right ahead. You're
Okay.
good.
Thank you. But I feel like under where they're numbered, I agree with Ms. Burns, and then where it's numbered, it says school-related groups, and it says such as PTA, PTO. I really feel like we need to put number one as our school-sponsored events, athletic events or drama, like it says in choral productions, need to be number one.
Yes, ma'am.
Just to be absolutely clear. I mean, it's written there, but I'd like to see it in the number so that,
Yes, ma'am.
That's the first
So,
one
and-
that shows up.
Yeah.
That, you want that one as the first one that shows
I would,
there?
yes.
Okay.
And
So you want to include that line or that idea, focus underneath E, section E? Is that right?
At the top of page, under B,
19.
Under B, okay.
yes, I think.
Gotcha,
B,
okay.
priority and use / fee structure.
Understood.
It just needs to be really clear that our first priority is
Sure.
our schools using this.
So we can
Our
reword
students.
that to be school-related groups.
And then it could just stay the way it is.
Yeah,
I mean, if that's okay.
This was the only thing that I saw that I took issue with is, yes.
that's why we have first and second reads.
Yes, sir. Okay. Board, any more questions?
No.
Mr. Hall? Okay, thank you. Next, 8.3, Booster Club Policies.
Yes, ma'am. And members of the board, this is a few minor changes to two different policies, 8260 and 5010. It adds a organization called Givebacks to the list of crowdsourcing options for vendors that we have. We still maintain the other one that was listed in there. In 5010, we had some discussion about this, moving this from September 15th, the reporting mechanism from September 15th to August 1st. Staff have re-examined and reprocessed through that to indicate that we may need to consider, the board may need to consider an August 15th date, or maybe even August 1st as it read. Reason for that, a lot of our booster clubs select their officers at the first meeting, and that first meeting is probably not going to be done by August 1st for a lot of them. So it would slow the process down. We went through kind of a list of items, and that came up as a potential obstacle that we would have to address. So I have reworded the policy 5010 to give the board an option to go that direction. You can just give feedback today, and then I can revise it for second read. I don't consider that a substantive change other than just a date. So I think we can move forward with second read and approval if Brandon McPherson agrees. Yep.
Okay, so you would want to push that back, or keep that at August 1st or possibly the 15th?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And we have the option. I put in August 1st as the option if you wanted to do, and that's what it was before.
Right.
So in order to just keep it simple and consistent, August 1st might be the best date.
Okay.
And I can draft that out for next board meeting as well. The only other change coming is not a policy, but I think it's important to bring up, and that is the Booster Club Support Organization. Again, the dates are on there, kind of fluid. August 1st, September 1st, what do you want us to do? I'll draft out a couple of those options. The other changes to this, and this is the agreement that the booster clubs and parent organizations send in to our county office, Dr. Breedlove, and our finance office and me. We've added in email addresses. That's where everybody just communicates through email now. We have removed a couple of items and made them more succinct. We've added in providing prior financial documents as a nonprofit loss or documentation of revenue and expenses, which was not in there before. It was implied but not specifically written. And those are the major changes to that. Again, this is not a policy. It's an accompanying resource to the policy to help implement the policy, but I wanted to bring this to the board's attention as well.
Okay. Board, do we have any questions?
What's the reason I'm asking this is I've been a PTA president in this school system for probably 15 years at different schools.
Right.
What's the reason for moving the date? And maybe I missed it.
No, it
I
was
writing down
suggested that we move it earlier.
Okay.
So that we could have things in place to start the school year.
Was that to help you? I mean,
It is. It's to make sure that people follow through with the correct process and procedure. We could end up having PTAs and PTOs operating and doing fundraisers when we don't have the financials or that they have their correct tax ID numbers.
Right.
Some of those reasons, but we did discuss changing that date because of when officers are elected and when that process starts. We're amicable to moving it back to September. Our ultimate goal is to get things in line with the paperwork, making sure that everybody that operates in our school has the appropriate recommendations or guidelines followed. So
right.
we're
And there
okay
is,
with.
sorry, there is a clause in here. I thought about potentially rewording that, and I may send a draft out of this. Again, this is not a policy, it's just a document that supports it. But there's a section in here that talks about the organization cannot perform duties until the paperwork is in to the county office.
Okay.
So we could ideally or potentially put a clause in there that says, you can turn this in earlier, but it's due by that date. If you have something coming up, you're a football booster club and your season starts on August 5th or whatever it happens to be, then if you have something coming up earlier, you can certainly turn it in earlier. It just has to be in by that date. I can explicitly write that in there as well.
I'll just say, I know when I was reading this yesterday, my only concern was, and I don't know how other schools operate, I just know how the ones that I participated in operated. We didn't really elect new officers until that first meeting, which we recruit new members at the open house. And then we have a meeting and we try to get everything done. And so, all the other things that are required, because I believe, Ms. Mallon, when we meet with the school bookkeeper, I was just writing it down. You provide the list of officers, your proof of insurance, your 990N, and your balance statement. Is that correct? Is that what they are still doing?
That is correct.
Okay. So, the 990's done in April, so they should have that, no problem. Insurance, okay. My concern was, I know at Pender High for sure, we didn't meet in the summer, but we did go out and meet with principal because we wanted to get everything set up for homecoming.
Yeah.
Because that comes really quick.
Yes, ma'am.
That was my concern.
Yes, ma'am. And that's why we suggested possibly moving it back to the original date that it was, to give clubs, booster clubs, and parent organizations time to make that happen before we require them to have this paperwork in.
Well, they have to submit that paperwork to do fundraising and anything before,
Right.
so you could just say no to any of that until it's done, right?
And hypothetically, that would, in a perfect world, that would
Right.
be how it operates. But we tend to have stuff that, things are operating and rolling outside of the district office and outside of approvals.
Yeah.
So we were just trying to. It's a struggle between financial responsibility on our side, trying to be the gatekeeper, and practicality of when it can work out. And we're moving in the right directions with a give back program, so it does give us a lot more financial transparency, and it gives the principals a lot more financial transparencies because the program houses all that information. So we are certainly not opposed to putting it back to that date.
I may be overthinking it. I know what happens at the schools that I've, like I said, participated in. Other schools may meet all year long. I don't know.
Ms. Hanson, this was actually kind of a heated discussion with us about this date. So we've gone over this multiple times, and the finance person in me wants a early date before school starts. But I also know that it's not practical if it doesn't work that way. So we're certainly open to it. Thank you for your input.
Yes, ma'am. And if I can be of help, just let me know.
Okay.
Thank you, Board.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Board, we have come to our consent agenda. You've had an opportunity to go over the consent agenda. Is there anything that you would like to have pulled out for discussion?
I've got 9.6 and 9.7, but they need more discussion than what we can do here today. I've got some concerns about a lot of the language in it.
Okay. All right, would you like to make a motion
I'll make a
excluding?
motion that we approve the consent agenda with the exception of 9.6 and 9.7, which need to be pulled till our next board meeting, or maybe a committee meeting. Unless staff tells me that that's going to create a problem. Because if I don't second, it dies. If I don't motion or second, the whole consent agenda dies, so.
It can be delayed.
What if we,
Right.
what if
It
we
can-
don't meet in July?
We'll still be all right, correct? Yes, we'll still be all right
We need to pull the
in August.
agenda items. Be glad to pull those and have.
I don't have any, there's some language concerns I don't like with them that I
Absolutely. I'll be
just don't
glad
agree
to
with. And
entertain those questions and address it as it's needed.
nothing major, but,
Yes, sir. No problem.
and it looks like, can you tell while you're there, the biggest changes are to make it align more with what the State Board of Education is dictating, right?
Yes, sir, to a certain degree, that's correct. The McKinney-Pinto policy in particular, there's been significant changes, and our policy's not been changed since 2010. So we had to realign some of the language and also the organization of the policy to be more closely aligned with the state board policy. The other policy was one that had been amended by our district several years ago to create what's called a tribunal. But in an effort to promote consistency, the way we do our appeals hearings for our long-term suspensions, we felt it would be better to have two individuals in particular that would hear all cases to
Well,
eliminate
some of the things
that.
are fine. It's just there's some minor,
Sure.
like some reasons for it, and then there's some stuff on the other policy about some cost specifically with transportation
Yes, sir.
that I just don't,
That's perfectly
that we
fine.
can agree
Yes,
to.
sir. We'll get together and get those questions answered and bring the policy back.
As long as you're sure it's not gonna
No, sir.
mess up anything for, okay.
Absolutely not. Thank you for your consideration.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table. Do we have a second?
I will second that.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, and the consent agenda has been approved. At this time, we are moving on to number 10, our action agenda, 10.1, security vestibule installation. Mr. Taylor?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Bring before you a couple of action items this evening. First being the security vestibule installation. We currently have 6 of our schools, and for those of you that may be unaware of what I'm referencing, most of our 6 of our schools currently have little airlocks where people enter from the outside into an enclosure and then they're released into the office. Several of our schools that were built obviously prior to Pender Lee, Surf City Elementary, Surf City Middle, and the Burgall Middle Edition and West Pender Middle Edition in particular don't have those airlocks or security vestibules, and when people enter the door, they can actually access the hallways to our schools. So in an effort to provide another layer of security to our schools, we have identified 7 projects. They are Cape Fear Elementary, Cape Fear Middle, Malpas Corner Elementary, North Topsail Elementary, Rocky Point Elementary, South Topsail Elementary, and Topsail Annandale. We will create an enclosure just beyond the main office door, which would prevent visitors from entering the hallways. And, sorry, I forgot to tell you the remainder. And again, just as I said, it's in an effort to improve our safety and security practices. These security and vestibules will be constructed prior to the routine practice during construction. We provide an extra layer of security for several of our schools across the district. The total fund cost would be $165,535.07. That would be paid from our capital fund source.
Can I add something there, and something that we've talked about? We do have a plan to cover every school with this double entry system. Right now, we're just going with the capital dollars that we currently have. We're starting with their elementary schools. Of course, there's one middle school on there because Cape Fear Elementary is also attached, so we're going to do the middle school at the same time as we're in the elementary. But we do have a plan to go into our next levels, which is our middle and high schools, to finish out this level of safety protocol.
Do you anticipate that next budget season, or?
We are hoping, yes, that this will continue, but right now the construction, with the capital dollars that we had this past year, spending that this summer and getting those in place, then when the new money comes in, taking that into the high schools.
And those of you who've been into the entrances of our 3 traditional high schools in particular, you know how expansive their foyer is, which makes it a considerably more expensive, and we could do fewer projects with the funds that we currently have. This was a way to capture as many projects as we could as we move forward.
Are you, who's gonna install this? You gonna hire it done, or is our own people gonna do it?
The quotes are listed in there, sir.
Okay, I didn't have that in front of me, sorry.
No worries. Seven Oaks is a.
I don't care, I just, point being,
Okay.
our own people.
Don't have the time, nor do we have the resources. Yes, sir, you're exactly right. This would be a contract services venture for us.
All right,
This,
I make a motion that we approve it then.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we have a motion.
I'll second.
And we have a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And the motion is approved. Thank you. 10.2, Rocky Point Elementary School paving project.
Yes, in an effort to improve paving, you know, we've done quite a few paving projects over the last several years in our capital funds. Just a couple of years ago, we did the entire Pender High School campus, and we've begun to try to attack some Topsail Annandale, for example, et cetera. This is the next project that we would like to have approved, total repaving of the Rocky Point Elementary School parking area. Obviously, it's also in accordance with our current CIP. That is one of the identified areas of need at that school. The total school paving project is not to exceed $161,517.24, which again would be paid from our Fund 4 capital balance. And staff recommendations approved is for approval as presented.
Okay, board, do we have any questions about the paving of Rocky Point Elementary?
Nope. I make a motion, we accept the
I will
proposal.
second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. And that is approved. 10.3, West Pender Middle School paving project.
West Pender Middle School, another project identified in the current CIP plan that we presented to you. Those of you who visited the campus recognize on the left-hand side there's a significant area where cars turn around. It's just not as welcoming and efficient as it could be. Additionally, the front parking area has been damaged a couple of different times or damaged and repaired due to utility maintenance and things of that nature. We would like to, and of course, entering off of the road, the buses entering those driveway entrance pads creates a significant disruption. There's lots of potholes and things of that nature, and we would like to improve that campus paving as well. This quote is not to exceed $170,359.86, which would be paid from our Fund 4 capital balance, and staff recommends approval as presented.
Mr. Taylor, just one question.
Yes, ma'am.
These three projects that we're looking at tonight, are they anticipated to be done before school starts back?
Yes, ma'am. That would be, yes, ma'am. The goal of having them approved today is to have everything complete by the time school starts in August.
Okay, very good, thank you.
I make a motion to approve West Pender Middle paving project.
I will second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And the motion is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. 10.4, student athlete insurance.
It's that, thank you, Board Chair. It's actually more than just athletic insurance. We just have called it that for years, and I can't get out of the habit. So this actually provides policy for students pre-K through 13 during the school day, as well as coverage for athletics, including catastrophic insurance. The accident policy covers all student accidents, athletic insurance The total for the entire package is $68,908.10. This will come out of Fund 2 for payment if it is approved. Any questions about the insurance? We have more people participating in athletics. It went up a little bit from last year, so I think that's probably part of the increase. The rate stayed the same.
Okay, is this a renewal, or is this just additional, renewal and additional coverage maybe, or? No?
We have more athletes participating.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's why it went up.
Is this bidded out ever, or is it just?
We're planning on bidding it out next year.
Okay. All right.
And we talked with Brandon midway through this past year to work on that process. The bid process takes a while.
Okay.
And I know he's very familiar with that process, so.
All right.
The other thing I would say, Board, is there are a limited number of players in this game.
That's fine. I just
To provide this insurance? Okay.
But, I mean, we did discuss taking it out for bid next year, so.
I don't recall us having any problems with any coverage that I can think of, and I've been here a long time, so.
Yeah.
I make a motion, we approve it.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And it is approved. Thank you very much. And now we are going to agenda item number 11, comments from board members. Ms. Hanson.
I think since the last time I was here, Mr. Reeves and I visited all 3 high schools in Pender County just to kind of get an idea of where our high school facilities are. And I just wanted to thank the staffs and Kevin for taking us. I think it was enlightening to see some of those things and how different the schools are and the different needs and how diverse we are. And I just wanted to point that out, that's very important to me. And just making sure that we understand all of our needs all over the county.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
And I really enjoyed graduation. Thanks to all the staff members at each school that were so welcoming. And I just hate that I couldn't come back to the Topsail High School on Friday because I went to Pender to represent there. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Hall?
With some of the concerns brought up tonight, and Mr. Springer made a good point as a county commissioner. You and I have met with the Priority 1 committee, but I think you'd agree, we probably need to meet as 2 boards together from time to time to talk about some of these things. So.
We can discuss that.
Yeah, I don't, committees don't get much done. Full boards do. So, otherwise, that's all I've got.
Thank you. First of all, I wanted to say, I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Thank you so much to all that everyone has done this year to make sure that this past school year was as successful as it was. We are nothing without everyone, boots on the ground in our schools, driving our buses, serving our meals, cleaning up messes. We all work together to make sure that our schools are successful, and I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for that. Secondly, congratulations to all of the 2025 graduates. We are incredibly proud of you. Graduation is always a special time this year, and I know as a new board member, you got to experience that this year, and it's absolutely my favorite day of the year. And it's where you see everything that you've worked for finally comes to fruition, and it's joyful. Again, thank you, and everyone, please enjoy your summer. And right now, number 12 on the agenda, comments from the board attorney.
All right, good evening, Board. Wanted to bring a couple of state legislative issues to the forefront of your attention. As is the wonderful tradition in the state budget process, we have now reached the conference committee stage of budgeting. The House and Senate have both passed their versions of the budget. They have also appointed their conferees. So we're going to get to work on the actual budgeting process. Different estimations of time as to when this budget's actually going to get concluded or finished. Some folks are optimists and believe it'll be before the end of the fiscal year. Some folks are pessimists and they say that it'll be October. I will guarantee you it'll be sometime between those two dates, and I'm not willing to commit beyond that. But beyond that, there are some bills I would like to point out for your attention that have passed one house and sent to passed one or both houses and have been sent back for concurrence that could have implications for this board that we've not previously mentioned. One is House Bill 959, Protecting Students in the Digital Age. It has some specific policies, requirements about internet access and the prohibition of TikTok specifically. Speaking directly to that app, there are also Harrison's Law, which I may have mentioned previously, but it is it modifies the hazing statute. It's Senate Bill 375. It defines hazing as subjecting a student to physical or serious psychological injury as part of or initiation to membership in organized school groups. So those are the two that I wanted to point out that I think you should pay some attention to and see, in addition to the ongoing conversation about the school calendar. That is, I have no clue where that's going to end up. I know that it has sort of wound itself into budget negotiations in one phase or fashion. Additionally, there are two different versions of the cell phone ban bill that have been appeared. There's a House version and a Senate version. What I've been told by members of both caucuses is that there will be some version of a cell phone ban, more likely than not, that's going to come out of this session. I think there's widespread support in the governor's mansion and both houses, so I don't foresee that changing between now and the end of session. But with that, Madam Chair, that concludes my report.
Did you say, can I ask you a quick question?
Yes, ma'am.
The first one you mentioned, House Bill, did you say 959?
Yes, 959. It is Protecting the Students from Digital Age. The primary sponsors are Hugh Blackwell, Kyle Hall, and Brian Briggs. I should say representatives, you know, Blackwell, Hall, and Briggs. So.
Okay, thank you, Mr. McPherson. Any other questions about any of those bills, proposed bills? Okay. At this time, we will take a motion for closed session.
I'll make the motion that Mr. McPherson will read it. But I do not have it in front of me.
Proposed motion is the board will enter into closed session subject to the advice from the attorney pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 115C-318-11A1 and A6 to prevent the disclosure of confidential personnel information and to consider confidential personnel matters. The board will also enter into closed session pursuant to 115C-319A1 and A3 to preserve the confidentiality of student matters and consistent with the educational Privacy Acts. To consider confidential student matters as provided in North Carolina General Statute 143-318A1 and the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act 20 U.S.C. 123G and North Carolina General Statute 115C 402.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And we are currently in closed session. Thank you, everyone. We are back from closed session. Do we have a motion to come out of closed session?
I will make that motion.
Second?
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the HR report?
I will make that motion.
Second?
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve out-of-district releases?
So moved?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone, and this June meeting is now adjourned.